So you all always say that I have a personal connection with all of my guests, and today's episode is no different. I've got the coach of coaches with me on Toke Moments, and before you say what, I have to let the audience know how we met.
Okay.
Because I always do this with all of my guests. Funny enough, I didn't realize that I had a deep connection with every single person that sat on this couch until they started saying in the comments that everybody that comes, TM has one personal story or the other about them.
Wow.
So I met Coach 10 years ago. Actually, guys, 15th of January 2014 was the day I said I do. And you all know how that situation worked out. And while that situation went crazy in 2015, so it was 9 years ago that I met you, Coach was one of the people who tried to save that particular situation. Do you remember the very first time I walked into your office?
Yep.
Welcome to Toke Moments. Nice to have you here.
It's quite interesting because you were on my couch.
Yes.
My therapist and coaching couch.
Yes.
Now I'm on your couch.
Yes.
Wow.
Full circle moment.
Yeah, after 9 years.
After 9 years.
Yeah, the roles are reversed. So you're the one asking me questions now.
And I was so looking forward to this because it's the start of the year. First to start with, Happy New Year, guys. Happy New Year to you, Coach.
Thank you very much.
I said that to you before we got on this.
Yeah.
And it was very important for me to have this conversation with you, actually, because I don't know about you. I mean, from a coach's point of view, I can't wait to get into your mind, but I know the mood out there is 2023 was a very heavy year. You know, people will say to you, oh my God, you know, it wasn't such a bad year, but I'm just so happy that the year is done, you know? And, you know, there was a lot of mental awareness, mental health discussions, people just going through it, you know, and at the start of the year, just to, you know, give a boost back. I know that people are probably wondering, you know, when they see people like, and they hear coaches and therapists, there's always this whole thing about, you know, there must be something wrong with you for you to see a therapist, or what is going on in your life and why do you need a life coach? So for me, I just wanted to even ask, you know, how important it is, why it is so important to have a coach.
All right, so thank you very much, Toke, and to all the people watching, Happy New Year. And it's quite interesting because 2024 is a very critical year. It's a pivotal year, and I'll explain it. So you had started the conversation by saying that 2023 was very heavy for many people. Actually, 2023 was the end of the COVID issues. So we got into COVID in 2020.
Yes.
We're on lockdown for the whole year.
Yes.
2021, half of the year, the same thing happened, right? And so 2022 was the year when we came out of COVID. We were trying to, you know, we were trying to recoup, we were trying to reboot, we were trying to recalibrate. And so people started to feel the post-effect of COVID really in 2023. People started to feel lonely. So there is a new mental health category, right? Loneliness. Yeah.
Okay.
And languishing. Languishing is when, you know, you're stuck psychologically, emotionally. You used to perform at your optimal. You used to be super productive, but you can't seem to get yourself to perform. So a lot of people are coming out of COVID. And what you're describing is what we call PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. And so people are highly irritable. People are very violent. People are very toxic. People are struggling with dealing with their own emotions. It's difficult to deal with people because you've been isolated for so long, right? You are used to it. You're running a completely different program. So all of that dynamic is the cause. And what we need is for us to be empathic and compassionate with those people that are negative, with those people that are toxic, because they are struggling psychologically and emotionally. And we know that as Black people, as Nigerians, we are not allowed to express our emotions. We have been sold a lie that it seems like because we're dark-skinned, we're different from every other human being. We're all deeply emotional beings. And COVID did a number on us. In fact, most organizations started to struggle from 2020. Yeah, major shift.
Yeah, I think what it was is it seemed like, lockdown, a new way of life, and we all laughed and hoo-hooed and ha-ha'd about it. And, people found other means to adapt and cope. But I don't think we fully understood that the world as we knew it was over.
Yes.
And a new world. Just even like in the working environment, for instance, the way people would work has changed.
Yeah.
And there were many offices or many organizations that realized that, there was no need for certain things anymore. There's now this virtual working at home thing. So even after COVID is over, people still virtually work from home. And if it's not that important, why should they come in?
Yeah.
I don't think I've actually heard anyone put it the way you put it, because for some reason, you just hear people say 2023 was such a terrible year, was such a bad year. And sometimes even when you had a not so bad year, you don't want to say it because it's like everyone's looking at you and thinking, don't we live in this same Nigeria?
Yeah.
I mean, somebody I saw on Instagram was not even a black person. I think, how with the algorithm now, you just see things that you're not even signing up for. Or it's just one of those videos that popped up. And this woman was talking about, her newborn baby was born. And I think 4 months after, she said he must have fractured his arm. They didn't realize he fell. But for some reason, he wasn't using that arm. And then they went to the doctor. The arm was in a cast, but he wasn't getting better. And, at some point, he went through an MRI and they said there was some mass in there. And she said, I called on the name of Jesus and I pleaded the blood of Jesus and whatever. And, when he went through the surgery, the doctor came out underwhelmed and said there was actually nothing. It was just a hole. And I thought that was a miracle. I was even excited. Praise Jesus. I don't know what made me click the comments. The bitterness and vitriol that I saw in there made me realize how heavy the world is right now. People were saying things like, so my child that died, is it that Jesus did not hear? Medical science healed your baby. Stop calling the name of God. Children that die of cancer, does that mean that God is on holiday? And I just thought, wow.
Yeah, so those are the effects. And you spoke about the corporate world, right? We now live in a world that we call the VCAD world. It's a volatile world, unpredictable world, complex world, ambiguous and disrupted world. So the world of work is completely changed. Now we're in the fourth digital industrial revolution. So two things, in fact, three things happen to us at the same time. One, COVID. Two, the global economy crashed. Three, the fourth digital industrial revolution. So the world is still trying to bounce back. And there's no world without you and I. We are the world. And so we are the ones that suffered it. We are the ones that are still trying to make sense of what we went through, right? Emotionally, psychologically. So it's an expression. It's of the reality of the times that we're in. Now in 2024, there's better hope. Oh, yeah.
That'll be a good
year. I personally believe that 2024 is going to be a phenomenon and a great year. But it's going to be dependent on your input. What you put in is what you're going to get out. And so what I'm saying to people in 2024 is that, you know what? You have to sit down and count the cost of the last 3-4 years and ask yourself, what have I lost? You have to ask yourself, right?
How do you even know you've lost something? Because some people might not.
We've lost so much. You know, time is the only construct that you have to exchange for anything of value. We lost a lot of time. Oh, yeah. And last year seemed to be so fast. It went like that. So people are asking, where has time gone? It's been, 3 years? It seems like I am where I was in 2020, and I can't seem to account for my time. Now, it's important that we recognize that time is life. And so where did 3 years of your life go? And so you have to look back and ask yourself, what were the goals that you set in 2020? What were the dreams you had? What was the vision that you had for your life in 2020? And you have to ask yourself now, where am I? And so 2024 is quite pivotal because it will determine the next 10 to 15 years of your life. In fact, this is the most important decade that you would ever live. Why? Because a disruption happened. It has caused us to feel stuck for 3 years. Now we're at the tipping point. And one of the things that I'd advise people to do is go read the book, The Tipping Point. Malcolm Gladwell.
What is the first step to actually knowing that you need therapy?
I mean, it's quite interesting because, we're not okay.
Everybody.
All of us are not okay. 1 in 3, 4 people has a mental health issue. So, yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, somebody in here. Actually, 2 people in here are not okay. And so maybe it's you.
I feel fine.
Or maybe it's me. That is not okay. But the first thing is for us to recognize that we are not okay.
Okay.
The second thing for us to recognize is that it is okay not to be okay. But the third thing that you need to recognize is you cannot stay in that state. It is not okay to stay in that state. And there's some people that are trained to help you. So technically, if you had malaria, what would you do?
Some people self-medicate.
So you'd go to a chemist, right? So it means that, okay, you've had the experience, you know what to do, and then you go and get the medication, right? So if you had a broken arm, what would you do?
You have to see a doctor.
You have to see a doctor. And it is the same thing. I say to people that your psychology affects your biology. In fact, the WHO has now declared that 85 to 90% of disease is caused by stress. Bruce Lipton says that 95% of disease is caused by stress and 100% of stress is caused by wrong beliefs.
Thinking.
Yeah. Your environment, your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions. So only 5% or 10% of disease is genetic. The rest is psychosocial. So you create your own disease.
Damn.
Yeah. And so if you don't want, to continue to create disease, and disease simply means a lack of ease. So it's not only when you have a physical ailment that you have a disease. You can have a mental, emotional, relational, or spiritual disease. Now, this life is all you have. You can't go to the vulcanizer and say, I want a spare life. You can't go to the, store and say, I want to buy another life, like they do in games. This is all you have. And you've got to make the best of this life. And there are people that are trained, right? There are professionals that are trained to help you make the best of your life. Now, your life and the experiences of your life, right, is the result of your mindset. And if you don't get your mindset right, it's over. If you lose your mind, Toke, now, what else is there?
Someone said the only thing they saved in 2023 was their mind.
Yeah. And that is not just the only thing. That's a major thing. In the last 4 years, the major thing that you needed to ensure that you protected and you saved was your mind. Now, you've installed certain programs because of fear of death, because of a lot of things that happen. We're running unconscious, negative, limiting, disempowering programs. Now you need someone to help you uninstall those programs and reinstall new programs. This is how I'll put it, right? Imagine if your computer or your phone had a virus. It won't function optimally. That's what's going on with us. We are all not functioning optimally anymore. We need to get an expert, a coach, a therapist, a psychologist to help us install an antivirus, uninstall the program that we're running and help us create new programs for the next 10 to 15 years.
So what do we do about awareness? Because I find out that people hear you and people know, yes, there's clearly something wrong. But sometimes I find out that the first point of coaching that you are almost giving as a suggestion oftentimes lies in religion. And I found out that over the years, there's a place for religion and there's a place really
for professionalism.
Do you know what I mean? Because religion always is from an emotional, like it or not, point of view. Because it's an emotional thing. To worship it's a relational thing. And you find out that a lot of people would say, I spoke to my pastor, before they say,
I spoke to my coach or a therapist. All right, let me just break it down, right? So Toke Makinwa, you are a spirit. You have a mind or a soul, and you live in an earth suit. That's how you are made up. You are not a human being, actually. You are a spiritual being having a human experience.
Really?
Oh, yes. The real you is invisible. 95% of everything you do is subconscious. So we call it your subconscious entity. Your subconscious entity is a combination of your spirit and your soul. Now, that spirit and soul is contained in a container called your body. So your body ain't you. Your body can't make a decision. Your mind makes a decision. Your spirit makes a decision. Right?
What's the difference between mind and spirit? Sorry, I probably sound absolutely crazy.
That's fine. That's fine. So your spirit and your soul are two completely different things. The essence of your life and your existence is your spirit. So when the Bible says God created man in his own image and after his likeness, God doesn't look like us. It is the spirit. The Bible says God is spirit. So the deposit of God in us is our spirit. That's the first thing that God created in Genesis 1, 26, 27, 28. And he gave our spirit dominion. Right? Then further down the scripture, he says that, there was rain and then he formed man. So he had created the spirit. Then he formed man from the dust of the earth. Now, research has proven that all the components of your skin, same exact component as soil. Exact. That's why when they bury you, they say ashes to ashes and dust to dust. And when they go look for your dead body, 5 years after, they don't see the skin anymore. They see only bones. That's because the soil has gone back to the soil. So God formed a casing, a capsule around your spirit. But yet, there was no intellect. There was no emotion. There was no will. So the third thing that God did was, and God breathed into man. And man became what? A living soul. So the breath of God is the soul of man. That is, your soul is the seat of your intellect, your will, your emotion.
No wonder I used to have moments, and I don't know if anyone out there experiences this moment. I remember even as a child, I'll have moments where I was trying to figure out who I am. Like, you keep trying to think, who am I? Like, what is inside of me? Like, how did I come to be? I don't know if I'm weird, but that used to happen to me a lot, where I would just literally be like, so who exactly is this person? You know what I mean? And, I used to think we're some of our experiences. So things you've been through, places you've been at, where you're from is what sums up who you are. But clearly, I'm kind of wrong.
That's part of it.
Okay.
And I love that question that you've always asked as a child, because that's the most important question you can ever ask in your life. And I will encapsulate that question and wrap it around a few other questions. First question is, who am I? And a lot of people think that when they say TM, Toke Makinwa, that's who you are. No, that's a name that was given you. That's a tag that was given you. That's not who you are. Now, so you must ask, who am I? And as you ask that question, who am I, you must also ask, who am I not?
Mm.
Because many of us, because of what people will think and what people will say, we plan, right, to behave in a way that people would accept us. So we're no longer living our lives. We're living other people's lives.
Damn.
Right? We want to be like other people. I like that guy. So you start to dress like him. You start to talk like him, especially, in the religious setting, right? So who you are and who you are not are two very important questions. The third question you need to ask is, what am I? Now, there are different kinds of spoons, right? So a spoon is not just a spoon. There is a function for a teaspoon. There's a function for a tablespoon. There's a function for a soup spoon. And so the fact that you say I'm a spoon is not just good enough.
Yeah.
The functionalities are different. So each and every one of us, right, are created to be a solution to a problem or to be solutions to problems. So the fourth question you want to ask yourself is, what problem am I a solution to? The sixth question is, whose problem am I a solution to?
Not the who's, coach.
Because you see, people fill the earth. And that is where money is. That's where value is. When you solve people's problems. The more problems you solve, the more money you make. The bigger the problems you solve, the bigger the money you make. And so when people create brands, when people want to make money, when people want to become significant, when people want to become popular, I say to them, let's sit down, right? Let's achieve what you want to achieve. But let's find fulfillment, satisfaction, peace, joy, and prosperity all at the same time. Because that's all that we're striving for in life. Everyone wants to find fulfillment, satisfaction, peace, happiness, joy. Now, people try to buy that essence. They want to become popular. They want to make money. They want to acquire power, and they want to use that as a means to an end. Meanwhile, you can get that end directly by discovering the purpose for which you were created, by identifying the solution you were created to be, by becoming that solution and delivering value, an exceptional value to the people that you are called to. Because the truth of the matter, right, is that you were created for such a time as this, for a purpose, right, as an African, as a Nigerian, and you are relevant and very significant. So it is important for you to be able to separate that essence of your spirit from your will to do or not to do, from your intellect and from your emotions. Now, this is where a lot of people struggle. They go to church to develop their spiritual essence, but their soul is lost.
Can you possibly develop your spiritual essence without your soul?
Yes. I've described your soul. It's the seat of your emotions. So if you lack emotional intelligence or emotional resilience and you are not in tune with your soul, you're on a lost battle. Now, the devil doesn't possess your spirit. It takes over your soul. Yeah, your thoughts, your mind, your belief system, your emotions. You begin to doubt yourself, your will. That's where the battleground is.
Sometimes that also happens as a result of, I feel like a lot of us, and this is one thing I started actively doing, a lot of us do not necessarily give ourselves credit for the journey we've been on. You know, you hear a therapist who say to me, you're not responsible for things that happen to you. You're responsible for how you react to those things that have happened to you, which I agree. But we don't talk enough, or we don't give ourselves enough credit for surviving certain things. I always use this analogy all the time. You know, I'm also a Bible believing, I'm not really a religious person. I would say I'm more into a relationship with God.
Okay.
Religion has never really been, I think I was born into a home where religion was important, which I'm grateful for because, I would be the one who would win all the prizes and represents the church in different schools, because I was very curious about the Bible at a very young age, and I've always been. But one of the stories in the Bible that always blows my mind is that of Noah. I feel like, I try to compare those stories we hear to modern day sometimes. Yeah. And sometimes the stories in the Bible, they are crazy. Because imagine if a guy wakes up at one of the popular roundabouts we have and starts to shout, repent, because God is going to wipe the earth with water. I'm sure I'll be part of those that will probably put on my Snapchat and think, this person's gone bonkers. Yeah. Pick him up. I'm sure the government will first be like, are you mad? In this hot climate, what do you mean? This person is mad, Noah went through that for years. The ark wasn't built in 2 months or 3 months. Yeah. This guy went through people coming every day to say, this madman is still here. His family members, his children at school probably be embarrassed to go to school. Because imagine if that was your daddy, who everyone thinks is mad, right? And, years went by, he built that ark and the rain came. And one of the questions I'm going to ask God in heaven is, you couldn't even vindicate the guy. The rain came and you wiped up everybody. In the later parts of Noah's life, he was mad. He was a drunk. Because half the shit he'd been through. Those negative words have a way of filtering, no matter how strong you are. Yes, imagine hearing for like 5-10 years how mad you are. And eventually now happens and there's nobody that will say, this guy was even right, or you can't even get a moment.
Yeah, you got it right there, because he was very spiritual. And I love the way you've described your Christianity. It is not about religion, it's about spirituality. And it's important that we begin to separate both, because religion is man trying to please God, and man can never please God. Religion is looking for everything external that can make you righteous and holy. It's not in the external things. It is spirituality, which is that intimate and personal relationship with God. It's about you. It's about you. It's about your evolution. It's about the value you add to the world. And so I love, your approach to Christianity, because we no longer live in a dispensation of the law. We now live in a dispensation of grace, right? And so haven't gone through that. Now, talking about Noah, you've just given me a biblical definition, an example of what I was talking about. Noah knew God. Right? Noah heard God. Noah obeyed God to the letter. And then people start chit-chatting. This guy is crazy. This guy is, and then they went into the ark, right? And he was able to experience God wipe off the entire earth. But emotionally and psychologically, he couldn't handle it, even though he was operating at his highest level of spirituality. And that's why you need a therapist.
But those days they didn't have any.
Yes, they didn't.
Who could Noah talk to?
And in this day and age, right, we all have different experiences. The whole world was almost wiped off with COVID. Remember the first weeks of COVID? Toke, you know what? For the first 6 months, I didn't step down from upstairs. I didn't come down the stairs. Talk less of step out my front door into my compound. I was scared. There was one fateful day. All of us were fine. I never caught COVID. All of us were fine. I went to bed. We were downstairs, my wife, my children. We were downstairs chilling. I went upstairs about 11 o'clock. And I got into bed and my heart started to pump. My heart started to beat. Everywhere started to spin. And it was like I was paralyzed. Wow. It was like I couldn't move. And I couldn't pick up my phone. Physician, heal yourself. My mind was telling me what to do. My body wasn't responding. So after a while, I calmed myself down. I managed to crawl downstairs. When my wife and my children saw me, you should see the panic in their eyes. So instantly they called the doctor. This was about 12 midnight. The doctor started asking me questions. Do you have this symptom? I said, no. He said, you're having a panic attack. Even me, that I'm a therapist and a coach, in the midst of COVID, I was fine before I went upstairs. Because every day I was watching CNN. This number
The
of
bad
people
news,
died.
yeah.
This number of people
Yeah,
this.
it's
And I
crazy.
was teaching it. I was using those statistics every day. So nobody knew whether COVID was a ghost or a spirit that would just come into your house and kill you, right? I had a panic attack. And the doctor says there's nothing wrong with him. Don't bring him into the hospital. You should go and, you say he's a therapist and a coach. All those interventions that he uses for people, he needs to go and use it on himself. And that's what I had to do for 3 days. Prayers, affirmations, meditation, visualizing myself and my entire organs, settle down. That's what did it for me. Covetousness is one of the keys of human beings' problems.
Do you feel like social media has made it even worse than it should normally be?
Yes.
Because everyone's posting their success and nobody's really coming out to show you when they are, between their knees crying and being like, this is not working out.
Yeah. Social media is great. I love it, But human beings were excessive. And so it's not even their successes that they are posting. A lot of people are posting lies. And so I'm looking at your social media. Let me use Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian carries this Maid bag. You don't know that they've paid her $500,000 to post it. Then you go and borrow, beg and steal, and even try and kill for rituals, right? To go and buy the bag and carry the bag. You don't know that, man, she was paid for it. And she won't say she was paid for it. You want to carry that bag. You don't know that Kim has been in this, PR entertainment business for so long. You don't know what she earns. You don't know what her income is. You are right here working in Access Bank. And as a
Not the Access Bank,
or whatever bank you're working in, and you want to be Kim tomorrow. Someone buys a Range Rover Sports, right? Or full, Range Rover, right? At the end of the year. And then you say, I've known this person for so long, man. I also want that Range Rover. You don't know that person worked hard the last 3 years, earned a lot of bonuses, and has been saving for the last 10 years. And that person is 40 or 50. And that person has always dreamt that I'm going to get myself that car as my 40th or my 50th birthday present. You are 25. You just started working and you say, we work in the same unit now. I want that car too. So covetousness is a major problem. FOMO is another.
Missing out.
Yeah, FOMO, especially with social media. You want what other people are showing that they have. You want the kind of life that they are projecting that they have. How many people live lives that are not ups and downs? There's the law of duality. There will always be sad times and happy times. There'll be times when you are high and low. There will always be black and white. Yeah, there'll always be good and evil. That's the reality of life. God never promised you that your life will be hunky-dory. He says, count it all joy when you go through many trials and tribulations. He says, let it do his work. Yeah, let patience do his work. So in the midst of us going through challenges, right? Do you know, I found out over the last 2 decades that failure, challenges, pain, they teach you more than success and gain teach you. And so it is for your own progress. It is for your own personal growth. It is for your own personal development when you go through diverse trials. But people never pause to reflect and ask themselves, what can I take away from this experience? What wisdom can I, extract from this so that I can apply it in my future? The reason why you are so smart, Toke, is you've gone through hell and back.
But I'm tired of going through hell, Coach.
Yeah.
Like, listen.
Now it's not
2024.
time.
I can't.
It's now time to apply all that wisdom. Yeah, you don't have to go through those cycles. Yeah.
What?
It's time to free yourself. I say to people that life is cyclical, right? Life is cyclical. If you look at your life, you will realize that you're going through loops of cycles. Some people have 7-year cycles. Some people have 5. Some people have 10. The same thing is happening to you every 10 years. Now,
wait, suppose another 10 years, I'll go through this.
No. That's where, this is the master key, okay? This is the master key. You see, in between the loops of life is a door. Okay. You know what opens that door? Wisdom. That's why wisdom is a profitable thing. So every time you go through an experience, ask yourself, what is the purpose? Instead of you wallowing in negativity or trying to escape, because a lot of people run away from facing the reality. Ask yourself, why did this happen to me? What is the wisdom that I need from this? Elicit the wisdom, because that wisdom opens the door to a new cycle in life, not the old one. But if you don't acquire the wisdom and understanding in every situation, it must come back, because you have to acquire the wisdom and the knowledge. Why? Because wisdom is the most profitable thing, and wisdom comes with knowledge and understanding. And people, the greatest challenge we have as human beings is ignorance. Ignorance keeps you in the loop. Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding unlocks the loop.
For people who are watching, it's a brand new year. What would you say are the 5 things that you can do to live a balanced and healthy? And when I say healthy, mentally, because I feel like that's where most of the battle starts. You know, someone was saying to me how she said to someone, I'm never going to get into Harvard. And the person said to her, yeah, I agree with you, you wouldn't. And she was so hurt and thought, why would you even say that to me? Because for you to get into Harvard, you need to apply. You know, it's not about emotions, you know, and then that made a lot of sense. So a lot of people are already dealing with self-doubts. Would I get this job? Am I good enough? You know, would I be a mom? Would I get married? There's a lot of uncertainty that I sense when I speak to a lot of people. It's like, yeah, I have faith, but so how do you cultivate the battle in the soul? And, you know, in your own opinion, I mean, share with us 5 things that we can do at the very early stage to at least get ahead of the anxious feelings of a new year.
I think the very first thing is to visualize. It's a very powerful tool. The ability to engage your imagination and to tap into the mind of God for God's future concerning you. Because many are the plans of a man, but only God's purpose shall be fulfilled. So what often happens is I develop an ambition. It's contrary to God's vision for my life. And so because God's vision will always, right, be superior to my own ambition, when I'm trying to go east and God's vision is west, his power will take me in the direction of west. So I'm left frustrated. So the very first thing you need to do, right, is submit, right? And how do you submit? It's got nothing to do with religion, because you've got a deposit of God's spirit in you. Everybody does. And so just close your eyes and begin to imagine.
I'm going to do it vividly right now.
Imagine the future. Imagine the next 20 years, Toke.
I think the AC is getting in the way. I can see it. I think I need to be in a quiet zen place, because I'm trying to know what the hell are you doing. I'm trying to get it, but
So imagine yourself at age 70.
70?
Yes. Yeah, your 70th birthday. Just imagine your 70th birthday. And you're being celebrated. You've achieved every single thing that God has ordained that you'd achieve. You feel so fulfilled, so satisfied. You are happy spiritually. You are fully attained. You have a personal relationship with God. You are fulfilling your purpose. You are solving problems. Financially, you have achieved every single thing you've set out to achieve. You've touched many lives. You've become a global, powerful, recognized brand. Your health is intact. Your state of mind is perfect. Home and family is intact. You are in the relationship of your dream. You love your spouse. Your spouse loves you. Your family is solid, intact. Your self-esteem is high. Your self-confidence is solid. You are able to travel everywhere you want to go, do anything you want to do. You're having fun. You are sleeping well. You are resting well. You are secure spiritually, emotionally, physically. You are fulfilled. You are satisfied. You are at peace. You're living a prosperous life. I want you to just experience that life. And you've invited top people from across the world, and they've graced this your 70th birthday. I want you to look around at all the people that you are seeing. The top people from America, the top people from Europe, the top people from North America and the rest of the world. Who are those people that are sat in that room? And what are the kinds of things that they are saying about you? The things you've achieved, the impact you've made, the lives you've touched. I want you to feel it. What are you wearing? What are they saying? What does it feel like? What do you look like? What do you smell like? I want you to experience this in its entirety. See it clearly. I want you to hear every single thing that people are saying. I want you to feel every single thing as if it was happening right now. And I want you to hear God whisper to you, "Well done, my daughter. You have fulfilled the purpose for which I created you." I am so happy with you. I absolutely love you. Now, how does that feel, Toke?
Really beautiful.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
Really beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. Now that is what people need to do. Have this experience. Document it. The Bible says, have a vision, but make sure you write the vision down and make it plain. So as you've experienced this, you need to document it. What did you see? What did you hear? Who did you see in the room? What did they say about you? Document everything. Then ask yourself the third question. How can I make it happen? What must I stop doing? So you must identify 10 things you must stop doing. 10 things that will stop you from living that dream. 10 things you must stop doing. 10 things you are currently not doing that will help you achieve that which you saw and experienced. Then, what are the things that you are wasting your time doing that you need to do less of? Some of them are okay, important, right? But you need to do less of it.
And on that note,
yay!
Thank you so much for being a part of our very first, this is literally, I would say, opening the year officially. And I'm so happy I got to do this. And, as you said, knowing God, I feel that's how I hear from God, just knowing the decisions to take and what to do. Thank you so much, Coach, because people pay you a dime and so much more for this that you dropped on us today. I do appreciate it. I definitely will be in touch.
Please,
because I feel like I definitely need, I just from the exercise you gave to me here, I just realized how much of my power I'd let go of, just from this simple exercise, because I've been focused and narrowed on one particular thing that I feel like, God, you need to do this. And it's so funny how even when you were wheeling out everything, you didn't even get there till much later. So there's definitely more to me than that.
Yeah, there are 12 critical elements of our lives, 12 dimensions. It was Socrates that says that an unexamined life is not worth living. And so a lot of people, they look at 1, 2, 3 areas of their lives and they focus on it and they neglect the remaining. There are 12 dimensions of your life that brings fulfillment. Marriage is one. Home and family is one. Spirituality is one. Health and well-being is one. Self-worth, self-esteem, self-confidence. Work is one. Your business is another. Fun, recreation, and rest is another. Spirituality is another. There are 12 dimensions to your life. And what we do is help you look at your life holistically and design your life for yourself based on what God has ordained for you. We help you create that, right? And we help you create a plan.
Heaven forbid we come to this earth and not fulfill that. All right, guys, thank you so much for being a part of this. My name is Toke Makinwa. I'll chat with you on the next episode of Toke Moments. Hopefully this year we have even more exciting guests that you guys are not really expecting, because I think this was absolutely phenomenal. Thank you. Chat with you guys.